Hello and welcome to this week's video. Sorry it's been a couple of weeks since the last one, but what can I say? It's been another school holiday. Teaching is fun. Today's experiment is going to be with Blutack. Other sticky things like Blutack do exist. I'm going to use it as a masking agent. I've not tried it. It's an idea from the febrile imagination. New Barnet, by the way. I don't know if it helps me think any clearer. But anyway, I'm going to use the Blutack to mask off colour and cover up, and I'm hoping to get something a bit like a sort of multicoloured pebbly effect with grouting around it. Anyway, it should be messy, it should be fun, and it should certainly be colourful. But before we get on to that, sticker swapping. Thanks, I've sent a few of my stickers out to a few of you and got some stickers back in return. If any of you want to take part and send me stickers and I'll send you a sticker back, that would be wonderful. John Clothier from the Woodworking Shed, thank you very much. Put a link below. I've really liked the pens that you've been putting on Facebook lately. And Andrew Whale, made in Yorkshire. Again, thank you very much for that, and enjoyed your last video about the Axminster Live Centre. I think I might have to get one. And Ed Oliver from Oliver's Woodturning. It might not show up so well because the exposure in here is pretty rubbish. Ah, good, there we go. Anyway, thank you very much, Ed. I don't have a toilet in my shed, but I'll find suitable places for these two. Thank you very much. Anyway, enjoy the video. On the lathe I've got roughly a 10-inch piece of ash, and it's been sanded down to 400, and I put sanding sealer on this half, left that half untreated just to see if it makes any difference. The instructions on the spirit stains do say to use it without sealer, but I've used sealer before. I'm going to give that a little rub down, a little cut back, just with some 1200 grit. Said 1200, here we go. The colour choices today, they might not work, but I'm going to use quite strongly contrasting colours just to see if the technique works. Then maybe if I were to do it more artistically, I might change the colours, perhaps do something a little more subtle, but this is to sort of see if it works or not. So I better get on with the airbrushing. Could have put this on with a cloth, but nice having a new airbrush and trying it out. Right, give that a few moments to dry. Right, next colour is going to be orange. I think there's enough in there. But while that's drying, let's get the Blutack ready. The idea is that once I've covered the rim with this, I will then put another colour on and then just spread the blob of Blutack a bit further so it covers the some of the second colour. Then I'm going to try to go for a third colour and spread the Blutack out a bit more. And then a final colour to try to separate each piece. But you don't need to see all of this. Okay, last one. Let's stick one in there. Right. Let's get the gloves back on. Okay, it's been a little while. Start pressing down. Well, as you can see, it does work. Plan B, both gloves off because the Blutack's sticking to them. And bigger blobs. This amount of time might make this commercially unviable, but we shall see. Having a repetitive task to do, though, you do tend to find an easier way of doing it. So what I'm trying now, rather than taking it off, I'm just putting another blob on top, spreading it. So push, spread, blob on top, push, blob on top, As I think I said earlier, I was toying with the idea of doing something with hot melt glue, which I still might come back to, but once you've used the glue, of course, it's good for nothing. I'm hoping that this Blutack, I'll just take it off, roll it up into a ball, and yeah, be able to do this again. Maybe I'll try something slightly different, maybe lines of Blutack. Okay, here we go with some red. And of course, got to leave it to dry, so I'm inside for a cup of tea. I have to be honest and say I'm not convinced I will ever do this again, unless the results are spectacular. Okay, for experimental purposes, that's just about enough, I think. I don't know whether to finish my cup of tea or just take it off. Feels quite dry, and if it's a disaster, at least I can finish my tea off then as a consolation prize. Right, now these are just going to be a single colour under there, which has indeed worked. Multiple colour. Well, success there as well. The other thing I don't like about using ash is the prominence of the grain coming through. I know people like to see wooden things as wood, but for this technique it really, in some parts of the grain, I think it does detract a bit from the beauty of the colour, if you think the colour's beautiful in the first place. It's easier to get it off by just sort of rolling up a whole ball of Blutack. I don't think it sticks to itself. Yeah, I don't know if you can pick up here the grain, where it's gone into the grain, it's lifting the colour. But the sealed side, you can see the grain, but the Blutack hasn't got all the way into the open grain of the ash quite as much. Okay, unsealed side, a lot of grain showing through. Sealed side, much better. Okay, so here where we've got a lot of the wood showing through, a bit scratchy looking, the sealed side is much better, much clearer, much less of the grain coming through, and certainly not the colour being lifted where the Blutack has gone in to the grain and then been pulled out. So on this side here, on this side only, I'm just going to put a little bit of yellow. Obviously, that's just toning it down a little. Yeah, that makes quite a lot of difference actually. Gives a bit more vibrancy to the colours. I'm going to try it on the stains, on the sealed side as well. Well, I think that's come out really quite well. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my cup of tea. Right, leave this to dry, and then I'll come back and put some sealer on it. This has had half an hour or so to dry. It's still a bit tacky, so I'm going to encourage it with the heat gun and turn the radiator on in here. Now I'm not going to hollow this out because it was an experimental piece, and I think that side is not of sufficient quality, but I am going to put some sealer on it and then some lacquer just to see the effect. Good job, it's an experimental piece. I was a bit too zealous with the sealer. Right, so the important learning lesson is make sure the stains are dry before you put the sealer on. Clearly drying them with the heat gun had worked in some places but not everywhere. It's a shame about that. But as I said, this isn't a keeper anyway because of all the problems with the open grain here on the unsealed side. Last coat going on now. Ignore all the splotchy bits. This bit looks nice. Okay, so there we have it. Another experimental piece. I've got some close-ups. I'm not going to finish this one off, as I said, because of the splodging that went on that was not part of the design. But where the colours were dry, very nice effect. Ideally, I'd like to try and work on getting the black to be thinner in places, but I hope it was worth watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to leave a comment below, and if you haven't subscribed, it'd be great to have you subscribe as well. Thanks for watching.